What started as a name floating through hip-hop conversations suddenly turned into something much bigger. The NBA YoungBoy situation that quietly exploded inside NLE Choppa's family. At first, fans thought it was just another case of internet rumors and industry drama. But as pieces began to connect, it became clear this wasn't about music, clout, or online beef. This was personal, and once it surfaced, there was no way to put it back. The shock didn't come from NBA YoungBoy himself. It came from how deeply the situation cut into NLE Choppa's inner circle. Subtle comments, emotional reactions, and sudden tension began appearing in places fans weren't expecting. What looked like random social media moments suddenly felt loaded. People started asking questions. Why did certain names trigger strong reactions? Why did family members seem divided? And why did NLE Choppa look caught between loyalty, pressure, and damage control? As speculation spread, the narrative grew darker. This wasn't a simple misunderstanding. The situation carried emotional weight, hurt feelings, trust issues, and the kind of conflict that doesn't stay contained once the internet gets involved. Fans quickly realized that when industry politics collide with family dynamics, the fallout can be brutal. Every move was analyzed, every silence felt intentional, and every response, or lack of one, only made things worse. What made this story explode was the contrast. NLE Choppa has long projected growth, peace, and positivity, distancing himself from negativity. Yet suddenly, his family was pulled into a storm connected to one of the most polarizing figures in hip-hop. That contradiction fueled the chaos. People weren't just watching drama, they were watching a test of values, loyalty, and emotional boundaries play out in real time. Behind the scenes, the pressure mounted. Family disagreements don't come with PR teams. Hope doesn't follow a rollout schedule. And when the internet starts picking sides, it can tear open wounds that were never meant to be public. The NBA YoungBoy connection didn't just stir conversation. It forced uncomfortable truths into the light, putting strain on relationships that were already fragile. Now fans are left with questions that go far beyond headlines. How did this situation really start? Why did it hit NLE Choppa's family so hard? And most importantly, can something this personal ever be repaired once it's exposed to millions? Because when music industry tension crosses into family life, the damage isn't measured in streams or tweets, it's measured in trust. And once that breaks, everything changes. The situation surrounding NBA YoungBoy and NLE Choppa's family didn't happen overnight. Behind the viral clips and social media commentary was a complex web of relationships, loyalty, and trust that had been quietly building tension for months. On the surface, it might have looked like typical hip-hop drama, heated comments, music disses, and fans speculating. But those who were close to the situation knew it went much deeper. For NLE Choppa, who has worked hard to project positivity and focus on personal growth, having family pulled into a public conflict was both unexpected and emotionally draining. It challenged not only his public persona but also his private life, forcing him to navigate the storm while trying to protect those closest to him. At the center of the turmoil was NBA YoungBoy, whose career and personal life have often been marked by controversy. While there wasn't necessarily a direct attack from him toward NLE Choppa or his family, associations and perceived actions became magnified in the eyes of fans and social media observers. Social media doesn't operate on nuance. A single comment or tag can spiral into narratives far bigger than intended. And that's exactly what happened here. The smallest interactions were dissected, speculated upon, and shared, turning private concerns into public entertainment. For NLE Choppa's family, who are used to dealing with the pressures of fame in smaller doses, this sudden amplification created stress that no amount of experience could have fully prepared them for. The personal nature of the conflict is what made it so explosive. Family members began receiving messages, comments, and questions from people outside their circle, all interpreting the situation through their own lens. What might have started as a minor disagreement or misunderstanding took on symbolic weight. It wasn't just about NBA YoungBoy or the industry anymore. It was about loyalty, respect, and protecting the sanctity of family ties. NLE Choppa, already a public figure, had to mediate without escalating the tension further, which proved to be a delicate balance. One wrong move could exacerbate the situation, but inaction also risked leaving wounds unaddressed. The impact on NLE Choppa's family went beyond social media chatter. Everyday interactions became tense. Conversations that once felt normal carried underlying suspicion or concern. Family members who weren't directly involved began feeling the ripple effects, sensing the pressure even if they weren't fully aware of the original context. Emotional fatigue set in, and the stress was compounded by the fact that every public eye seemed focused on their reactions. The personal and the public collided in ways that made simple decisions, what to say, what not to say, who to trust, feel like high-stakes maneuvers. This was the kind of stress that doesn't fade with time. It lingers, shaping behavior and relationships long after the initial incident. Meanwhile, the internet amplified every micro-moment. Fans speculated endlessly, dissecting interactions and crafting narratives about blame, intentions, and consequences. What NBA YoungBoy might have said or done, regardless of its context, was treated as a potential spark for larger fallout. People debated who was at fault, who needed to apologize, and who was overreacting, turning the private family dynamics into a public chess game. Even minor emotional reactions from NLE Choppa or his family were scrutinized, shared, and reinterpreted, creating pressure that extended far beyond what any of them were equipped to handle. It's one thing to deal with a heated personal moment. It's another entirely when that moment is projected onto millions of viewers who feel entitled to commentary. As the story unfolded, alliances began forming, not necessarily along lines of right or wrong, but based on perception. Friends, fans, and even acquaintances picked sides, each interpreting the events through their own lens. The resulting tension wasn't just between NBA YoungBoy and NLE Choppa's family. It extended outward, affecting relationships that were tangentially related. It became clear that when a celebrity conflict intersects with family, the consequences extend far beyond the individuals directly involved. Every word, action, or silence carries weight, and the potential for misunderstanding multiplies exponentially. For NLE Choppa, the challenge was maintaining composure while protecting those he cared about. He had to navigate the emotional fallout, make strategic decisions about what to address publicly versus privately, and ensure that the situation didn't escalate further. Every move required careful thought. If handled poorly, the situation could damage not just family relationships but also his own reputation. Yet, at the same time, he had to acknowledge and ultimately, this situation illuminated a harsh reality. In the music industry, and in life, personal and professional spheres are increasingly intertwined. NLE Choppa's family experienced firsthand how quickly a situation can spiral when private feelings collide with public attention. What began as an isolated concern regarding NBA YoungBoy evolved into a test of loyalty, emotional intelligence, and resilience. Every decision, reaction, and conversation carried significance, shaping the narrative in ways that went far beyond the original conflict. The first stage of this saga revealed just how fragile family dynamics can become under the spotlight and how careful navigation is required to maintain trust and unity in an environment where privacy is a luxury few can afford. As the situation with NBA YoungBoy continued to unfold, the pressure on NLE Choppa's family began to mount in ways that few outsiders could truly understand. What started as a single point of tension slowly expanded, touching multiple aspects of their lives. Conversations that once felt private began to feel public, as every interaction seemed to carry potential for misinterpretation. Family members started noticing subtle changes in how they were approached by friends, acquaintances, and even strangers, people curious about what had really happened or looking for confirmation of the drama circulating online. This external pressure intensified the internal strain, creating an atmosphere where trust and communication became increasingly fragile. For NLE Choppa, the challenge wasn't just managing the public narrative, it was managing the emotional fallout within his family. Each family member had a different perspective on what had occurred, and some were more affected than others. While some tried to downplay the situation, others felt deeply hurt or frustrated, convinced that the conflict represented a betrayal of trust. NLE Choppa found himself walking a delicate line. He needed to validate their feelings while also preventing misunderstandings from escalating further. Every word he said, both publicly and privately, carried weight, and even small missteps could have led to lasting damage. Meanwhile, the role of social media in amplifying the situation became undeniable. Every post, comment, or reaction was scrutinized, often without context. Fans and followers dissected interactions between NLE Choppa and his family, searching for hidden meanings or evidence of conflict. Even seemingly innocuous statements were interpreted as confirmations of a larger feud, while moments of silence were spun into proof of tension or mistrust. The family quickly realized that the digital world could transform personal feelings into public narratives in an instant. This constant scrutiny intensified the emotional toll, making it increasingly difficult for them to process the situation privately. The involvement of NBA YoungBoy, whether direct or indirect, further complicated matters. While some assumed the conflict stemmed from a personal disagreement, insiders suggested that it was more about perception and associations than intentional actions. In the eyes of fans, YoungBoy's name alone carried enough weight to trigger assumptions of betrayal or conflict. For NLE Choppa's family, this meant navigating the delicate task of addressing the situation without unnecessarily escalating it or creating additional tension. Every conversation had to be strategic, every action deliberate, as they worked to protect relationships while managing public perception. Trust within the family began to be tested in subtle ways. Some members questioned whether certain individuals were aligned with the right interests, while others worried about being misrepresented online. These undercurrents of suspicion and doubt created small fissures in communication, making collaboration and understanding more challenging. NLE Choppa often had to act as mediator, attempting to reconcile differing viewpoints while also shielding the family from external pressures. This responsibility placed an immense burden on him, highlighting the complex intersection of celebrity life and personal loyalty. The emotional impact was compounded by the sense that the situation could flare up at any moment. Even after the initial confrontation or incident, discussions around NBA YoungBoy remained a sensitive topic. The family found themselves constantly re-evaluating their words and actions, aware that any perceived misstep could reignite public scrutiny. That awareness added a layer of stress that few outsiders could relate to, turning ordinary interactions into carefully considered decisions. Privacy became a scarce commodity, and the family realized that maintaining control over the narrative was a full-time effort. Amid the tension, there were moments of reflection and introspection. NLE Choppa's family began to recognize the importance of setting boundaries, both with each other and with the outside world. They had to decide which issues were worth discussing publicly and which were better handled privately. These decisions weren't easy, as emotional responses often collided with strategic considerations. Yet, this process also fostered a deeper understanding of one another, revealing strengths and vulnerabilities that had previously gone unnoticed. The conflict, while painful, became a catalyst for re-evaluating family dynamics and communication patterns. At the same time, the situation highlighted the pressures that come with celebrity life, particularly when personal relationships intersect with public perception. NLE Choppa and his family were navigating a world where personal loyalty and public image were intertwined, and every move had the potential to be magnified. They learned that managing relationships under these conditions required a careful balance of transparency, discretion, and emotional intelligence. The NBA YoungBoy situation became a test of patience, resilience, and strategy, forcing them to grow in ways they hadn't anticipated. As the story progressed, the consequences of the conflict extended beyond immediate family dynamics. Friends, collaborators, and acquaintances were drawn into the orbit of tension, either through direct involvement or by being pulled into public debates. This broader social ripple effect underscored how a single situation, when magnified by fame and social media, can impact an entire network of relationships. The family realized that every action, every response, and every statement could carry unintended consequences, requiring heightened awareness and careful navigation. Ultimately, The second phase of the NBA YoungBoy situation revealed the intricate web of challenges that arise when personal matters collide with public attention. NLE Choppa's family faced emotional strain, fractured trust, and constant scrutiny, all while trying to maintain unity and composure. It became evident that managing such conflicts required not only emotional resilience, but also strategic thinking, patience, and the ability to prioritize what truly mattered. What had begun as a seemingly isolated incident had now evolved into a complex, ongoing challenge that tested loyalty, communication, and the strength of familial bonds under extraordinary pressure. As the NBA YoungBoy situation continued to unfold, the stress and tension within NLE Choppa's family deepened, revealing just how complicated the intersection of fame, loyalty, and personal relationships can be. The initial shock of the incident had faded, but the emotional ripples remained. Conversations that once felt routine began carrying an undercurrent of caution. Family members, aware of how quickly interactions could be misinterpreted or leaked online, treaded carefully, often choosing silence over expression. Even small disagreements risked being amplified, leaving little room for spontaneous emotion or authentic discussion. For NLE Choppa, this environment created the need to act as both protector and mediator, balancing the emotional needs of his family with the realities of public scrutiny. The emotional toll of the situation was most apparent in the way family members communicated. Trust, once implicit, had to be continually negotiated. Some family members expressed frustration at being caught in the middle of the public drama, feeling as though their private lives had been hijacked by a story they had little control over. Others worried about making the wrong move or saying the wrong thing, fully aware that any perceived misstep could be twisted or used as ammunition online. NLE Choppa often found himself walking a fine line between intervening and allowing his family the space to express their perspectives. This balancing act was emotionally draining, requiring constant attention and careful consideration. Social media played a significant role in shaping perceptions during this phase. Every post, comment, or reaction from NLE Choppa or his family members was dissected and analyzed by fans, influencers, and media outlets. A simple response could be interpreted as confirmation of a feud or a hidden message directed at NBA YoungBoy. This constant surveillance created a pressure cooker environment in which private emotions and discussions were almost impossible to contain. The family quickly realized that managing their responses was as critical as managing their relationships, and every action needed strategic thought to prevent unnecessary escalation. Compounding the stress was the public's tendency to simplify complex family dynamics into easily digestible narratives. Online discussions often sought to assign blame or create a clear villain and victim, leaving little room for the nuanced reality of overlapping emotions, personal histories, and loyalties. NLE Choppa's family found themselves frustrated by these misinterpretations, recognizing that outside observers were drawing conclusions without understanding the full context. This dissonance between public perception and private reality added another layer of tension, as the family worked to navigate both worlds simultaneously. During this period, moments of introspection became increasingly important. NLE Choppa and his family began to reassess their communication patterns, boundaries, and strategies for managing conflict. They recognized that responding impulsively or emotionally to public pressure often exacerbated the situation, while measured responses allowed for greater control over outcomes. Learning to pause, reflect, and act deliberately became a necessary skill, helping them navigate the high-stakes environment that arose from a private family matter becoming public. This process was not easy, requiring patience, emotional regulation, and constant evaluation of potential consequences. The influence of NBA YoungBoy, whether direct or perceived, remained a focal point of discussion and concern. While some interactions may have been minor or innocent in intent, the optics of his name being involved had already created tension within NLE Choppa's family. The presence of a highly visible and polarizing figure added an extra layer of scrutiny, amplifying every reaction and decision. This dynamic forced the family to consider how external forces could affect internal relationships and underscored the importance of setting boundaries and maintaining clear lines of communication. As the weeks progressed, the ongoing situation highlighted the challenges of managing familial loyalty under public pressure. Family members had to navigate conflicting emotions, differing opinions, and the constant gaze of online audiences while maintaining unity and trust. NLE Choppa, as the most visible member of the family, carried the weight of ensuring that his actions minimized conflict rather than creating it. This responsibility required a delicate balance between transparency, discretion, and emotional support, testing both his leadership and his patience. At the same time, the situation fostered opportunities for growth and understanding within the family. Difficult conversations forced members to articulate their feelings, establish boundaries, and reevaluate assumptions. While uncomfortable, these dialogues also allowed the family to strengthen their internal bonds and gain clarity on what mattered most. The process highlighted the value of empathy, active listening, and emotional honesty, even under circumstances where misinterpretation and public scrutiny were constant threats. Ultimately, the third phase of the NBA YoungBoy situation emphasized the complexity of navigating personal and public pressures simultaneously. NLE Choppa's family faced ongoing challenges in managing trust, communication, and perception while maintaining emotional stability. The intersection of fame, social media scrutiny, and private relationships created a uniquely intense environment, requiring resilience, patience, and strategic thinking. What had begun as a single incident involving NBA YoungBoy had evolved into a sustained period of emotional navigation, testing the family's ability to protect their relationships, maintain composure, and grow despite external pressures. By the end of this stage, it was clear that the situation would continue to influence family dynamics and decisions long after the initial drama had captured public attention. As the NBA YoungBoy situation continued to unfold, NLE Choppa and his family began to confront not just the immediate conflict, but the deeper, long-term implications of having private matters thrust into the public eye. The initial shock of the situation had passed, but the emotional and relational reverberations remained. Every family gathering, conversation, and decision was now influenced by a heightened awareness of scrutiny, both from fans and from the broader social media ecosystem. The family's daily routines and interactions, which were once organic, now carried an invisible weight, as if every word might be interpreted as part of the ongoing saga. This subtle, constant pressure added layers of complexity to an already tense environment. For NLE Choppa, the challenge extended far beyond the public-facing aspects of the situation. He had to navigate the emotional needs of multiple family members, each of whom was reacting differently to the stress. Some felt frustration and resentment, others anxiety and hurt, and still others confusion over what had been said or implied. Balancing these emotions while maintaining his own composure required exceptional patience and focus. At times, NLE Choppa found himself acting as a mediator, carefully translating perspectives and diffusing potential conflicts before they could escalate. This was a role he hadn't fully anticipated, and it tested both his emotional intelligence and his ability to lead within his own family. The influence of social media continued to shape the environment. Fans and observers dissected every interaction, post, or comment, often amplifying misunderstandings and creating new points of tension. The family quickly realized that controlling the narrative was nearly impossible. And any attempt to clarify could easily be misinterpreted or taken out of context. Even when NLE Choppa chose silence or restraint, that choice itself became a topic of speculation. The digital world turned simple decisions, like what to post, say, or ignore, into high-stakes calculations, forcing the family to constantly weigh potential consequences against the need to express themselves authentically. Meanwhile, NBA YoungBoy's indirect involvement created additional layers of complexity. While his direct actions may not have been the source of conflict, the mere association triggered emotional responses and public speculation that magnified the situation. Family members struggled with how to process these dynamics, especially when the reactions of others were filtered through assumptions and rumors. The situation revealed how external influences can shape internal relationships, sometimes forcing decisions and reactions that wouldn't otherwise have been necessary. It also highlighted the importance of setting boundaries, both within the family and with the outside world, to prevent further emotional strain. The family also faced the challenge of distinguishing between real conflict and perceived conflict. Online narratives often blurred these lines, presenting events in ways that amplified drama and fueled division. NLE Choppa and his family had to consciously separate truth from interpretation, focusing on what mattered most to them rather than being distracted by outside noise. This process required introspection and intentionality, as the emotional pressure of fame often makes it easy to react impulsively. By establishing clear priorities and communication strategies, the family worked to protect relationships while navigating the public spotlight. Over time, moments of reflection and dialogue began to emerge. NLE Choppa and his family recognized that, while the situation was stressful, it also presented an opportunity to examine patterns in their interactions. Conversations that might have been avoided in the past became more intentional, with each member learning to articulate feelings, express boundaries, and listen actively. Though challenging, this process helped create a foundation for stronger, healthier communication. It also reinforced the importance of maintaining unity and empathy, even when external pressures threatened to exacerbate tensions. The emotional weight of the situation remained heavy, but subtle signs of resilience began to appear. NLE Choppa's family showed an increasing ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, demonstrating growth in emotional regulation and collective problem-solving. They began to prioritize internal understanding over external validation, recognizing that the judgments and interpretations of outsiders could not dictate the terms of their relationships. This shift represented a crucial stage in managing the long-term impact of publicized personal conflict. Additionally, the situation served as a lens for understanding the broader pressures of celebrity life. NLE Choppa and his family experienced firsthand how fame intensifies personal conflicts, turning private emotions into public spectacle. Every word, action, or hesitation could be interpreted as a statement, making it difficult to separate genuine emotion from perceived motive. The challenges they faced highlighted the unique pressures that come with being both a public figure and a member of a closely connected family network. Ultimately, the fourth phase of the NBA YoungBoy situation underscored the importance of resilience, communication, and boundary setting in the face of prolonged scrutiny and conflict. NLE Choppa and his family were navigating a highly charged environment, balancing loyalty, trust, and emotional well-being while managing the expectations of a public audience. They learned that conflicts, once made public, take on lives of their own, influencing relationships and emotional landscapes in ways that extend far beyond the initial incident. Through careful reflection and deliberate action, they began to lay the groundwork for healing and stronger family cohesion, demonstrating that even in the midst of chaos, growth and understanding are possible. As the NBA YoungBoy situation entered its final phase, the long-term consequences for NLE Choppa and his family became increasingly clear. What initially appeared to be a temporary spark of conflict had transformed into an ongoing test of loyalty, patience, and emotional endurance. By now, the family had learned that public scrutiny doesn't operate on a timeline. The reactions of fans, friends, and online commentators could reignite tension at any moment, keeping the family on high alert. NLE Choppa, as both a central figure and protector, bore the responsibility of guiding his family through this ongoing storm, balancing the pressures of fame with the fragility of personal relationships. One of the most significant lessons during this period was the importance of boundaries. The family realized that constant exposure and commentary created pressure that could easily magnify even minor disagreements. NLE Choppa emphasized the necessity of establishing emotional and practical limits, not only with outsiders but within the family itself. Clear boundaries became essential for maintaining trust, preventing misunderstandings, and ensuring that each member felt heard without feeling forced into public debates. This stage highlighted that boundaries aren't a sign of division, but a mechanism for preserving relationships under strain. Social media continued to shape the narrative in subtle but powerful ways. While earlier phases were dominated by immediate reactions and viral moments, this stage revealed the long-term effects of online speculation. Fans and influencers frequently revisited the situation, analyzing past interactions and predicting potential outcomes. Even seemingly insignificant gestures, a comment, a like, or a post, were scrutinized, often reigniting public discussion. For NLE Choppa's family, this persistent attention created a backdrop of tension that required continuous emotional management, reinforcing the need for careful communication and strategic restraint. Emotional regulation became a critical focus during this phase. Family members were learning to distinguish between reactions motivated by external pressure and those arising from genuine personal feelings. This distinction was crucial, as misattributing intent could escalate tensions unnecessarily. NLE remained a factor, but its intensity gradually decreased as the family focused on internal cohesion. By reframing the situation and prioritizing family unity over external narratives, NLE Choppa helped reduce the impact of outside speculation. The family learned that while they couldn't control public perception, they could control their responses and the way they supported each other. This shift marked a critical turning point in moving from reactive engagement to proactive emotional management. At this stage, the broader implications of the situation became apparent. NLE Choppa and his family recognized that fame magnifies not only successes but also personal conflicts. The experience offered lessons in resilience, strategic communication, and emotional intelligence. They discovered the importance of patience, the value of choosing battles wisely, and the necessity of maintaining perspective in high-pressure environments. Each interaction, whether within the family or in public spaces, required mindfulness and deliberation, reinforcing the idea that reputation and relationships are intertwined but must be managed carefully. Despite the challenges, the family also experienced moments of growth and empowerment. Navigating the situation forced them to confront uncomfortable truths, address lingering tensions, and articulate needs that had previously gone unspoken. Through this process, they developed a stronger framework for handling future conflicts and a deeper understanding of one another's boundaries and emotional capacities. The intensity of public scrutiny, while challenging, ultimately provided opportunities for reflection and development that might not have occurred in a more private context. By the end of this phase, it was evident that the NBA YoungBoy situation had permanently altered the family dynamic, but not in a purely negative way. While the conflict tested loyalty, patience, and resilience, it also revealed strengths and capacities that had been dormant. NLE Choppa emerged not only as a protector and mediator, but also as a figure capable of guiding his family through emotionally complex and highly publicized circumstances. The lessons learned extended beyond the immediate situation, shaping strategies for communication, emotional management, and boundary setting that would influence family interactions for years to come. Ultimately, this final stage underscored that personal and public challenges often coexist in the lives of those in the spotlight, and navigating them requires balance, self-awareness, and collective effort. NLE Choppa's family faced sustained pressure, emotional complexity, and public scrutiny, but through patience, empathy, and deliberate action, they found ways to maintain unity and protect their relationships. The NBA YoungBoy situation was no longer just a moment of tension. It became a catalyst for growth, reflection, and long-term resilience, highlighting the intricate interplay between family, fame, and emotional survival in the modern era. The NBA YoungBoy situation showed us that fame doesn't just bring success, it brings challenges that test loyalty, trust, and family bonds. NLE Choppa and his family navigated intense public scrutiny while dealing with private emotions, proving that resilience, patience, and communication are essential in the face of conflict. Their journey reminds us that personal relationships require care, boundaries, and understanding, especially when the world is watching. Now it's your turn to weigh in. How do you think NLE Choppa handled the pressure? Could his family have done anything differently? Or was this a situation where growth and learning were the only outcomes? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the most dramatic and real stories in music and celebrity life. More insider stories are coming, raw, unfiltered, and unforgettable.